The greatest treasures are not easy to come by. In fact, what makes them so precious is the pain and troubles that come from it. In Job 13 verse 15, Job says, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him." Job's words do not come out of the blues, but rather they show what Job had been storing up in his heart. In Luke 6 verse 45, Jesus says, "A good man, out of the good treasure of his heart, brings forth that which is good. For of the abundance of the heart, his mouth speaks." Job responded to his suffering with great faith, despite the suffering and accusation from the devil. He still stood his ground, trusting the Lord. Job's words silenced the devil when he said, "Though he slay me, yet I will trust in him." Job was saying, "Yes, God has taken my wealth, health, and my family from me, yet I will still trust him because he knows the best." He depended solely on God. Despite all he went through, he still held on to God because he knows no one can save him but God. Job was nearly crushed by the pain of suffering with all he had lost. His physical ailments were so painful that he used broken pottery as the instruments in his homemade surgery in Job 2 verse 7. And yet in the midst of such pain and heartache, Job, with his unshakable faith in God, in Job 1 verse 21, Job says, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." The devil uses pain to destroy our joy and faith in God. He uses pain to make us think that God does not care. Dear friend, do not walk away from God during your difficult times and even in your good times. When Job's wife told Job to end it all, to curse God and die, Job said to her in Job 2 verse 9, "Why do you speak like a foolish woman?" Job understood that his life was in God's hands. His life wasn't his to take. Dear friend, no matter how bad things get, no matter how heavy you may feel in life, don't ever get so depressed that you think of committing suicide. God gave you life for a reason. You may not understand God's plan for your life while you are in pains, but trust God, for God does some of his best work on our souls in the midst of our pains, our sufferings. Little did Job know that even when he felt he was dying, God was keeping him alive. Even though he felt that God had abandoned him, God was actually right there with him, upholding him, helping him, and strengthening him. God won't allow any of his precious child to be snatched from his strong hand. He will surely make a way of escape. Dear friend, faith in God does not prevent trials. It gives us a refuge in the midst of trials. God sometimes allows us to go through problems for a reason, for he is always in control. Job looked past his present troubles to the promise of more. He did not sin against God, no matter what he lost or suffered. He believed in the promise and trusted in the Lord. Job's faith was unshakable. He made his stand against fear and did not give in to panic. He made his stand against pride and humbled himself before God. He made his stand against anger and did not blame God at all. Sometimes, life's most difficult circumstances can lead to life's most enlightening moments. Job had longed all his life to know God. He had brought his offerings unto God. He had kept the rules of God, and and he had kept a righteous heart. But it was only in his suffering, in the very worst of his suffering, that he met God in a deepest way. In the very storm that nearly devastated him, Job met God. Job found God, who he had been looking for, without avoiding the storm, but holding on to a thread of faith as he went directly to the center of the hardest of hard times. Dear friend, God is a faithful God. It may not happen in the way you had planned it, for God has the final say. He has his own timeline to bring those promises in your life. You need to have that unshakable faith of Job. Do not be moved by your circumstances. Be up always, even when in hard times. Know that God has everything covered for you. You will surely make it. When you make God bigger, your problems become smaller. And when you magnify God instead of your circumstances, your faith arises. Just like Job, who focused on God and not his circumstances, and he was blessed with double of what he lost. Do you focus on your circumstances more than God? Sometimes when you feel like sinking, hang on and trust God, because no one else can hold on to God for you. No one can help you except God. That is why Jesus is the only friend who can be with you to the end. He is the only one who can walk with you always and stay closer to you than a brother. He is the only one who can take you safely through every trial and test. Just trust him. Job overcame at the end. After the dark valley of trials, God gave him victory and blessed him more than ever, twice than he had before. Even though it may seem like life is crashing around you right now, and though you may wonder if you will ever make it through, trust in the Lord. Lean upon him. Stay faithful to God, and in the end, he will bring you through once again and make you victorious, just like Job.